Hello there, my very good friends. Welcome to another Q&A video. You guys had questions. Thank you to the YouTube community. We've got answers. I'm Andy. This is Phil.
Hi.
Yep, we both said it. That's how you know we're good.
Question.
Kick this off.
So the first question comes from Sick Nasty 100. He's sick and he's nasty and he's keeping it 100, I assume. With Hangman no longer feeling like the main protagonist of AEW, how would you book him to return to form, with and without CM Punk being a possibility?
Ooh, yes. I think this is a really interesting question because Michael Sidgwick, I think it was, coined the phrase, Hangman Page is the main character of AEW, and it stands to reason. Obviously, the first 2 years creatively of the company's main event scene, or the rise to the main event scene, were built around this man and his road to the top and his eventual title win and title reign. And then he ran into a Mr. Phil Brooks and some stuff happened and we're still feeling the aftershocks of that today. So my answer for how would I rebuild Hangman Page and make him the face of the company again is really simple. I would find a way for him and Phil Brooks to work together, and I would put Hangman Page over him. CM Punk politically, maybe he would make that a little difficult, but we know that CM Punk reached out to Hangman after that promo following Collision last week to apologize. He sent him a text message that has been verified by several different reporters now. Like Hangman just seems like a nice guy. I think like if there was some kind of olive branch, maybe I'm speaking on his behalf wrongly. He seems like the kind of guy who maybe at some point would be like, you know what, if you're gonna do the right thing, maybe we can make something happen here. So that's how I would do it. I don't know if you've got any different ideas.
I would very much do a similar thing, yeah. They need to do something with them at some point. And CM Punk is, as CM Punk is, he does usually figure out what is best for business at the end of the day and do that like most of the time. So they need to figure out a way of working together, and the way I'd do it personally is, we've kind of done something of a tease of Hangman Page going back to the sort of drunken cowboy thing on Dynamite the other day. Where he was at the hospital, doing the drinking and the beer, and then the guy came and said, you can't drink beer here, and then he downed the beer. So I would go down that route again of him getting more and more alcohol. I'd have the Elite start to lose quite a little bit. I think you'd have the Young Bucks lose it all in against FTR. I mean, why not have Kenny Omega lose there as well in that trios match, and then have it all sort of start to, the confidence of them all start to crumble a little bit. Obviously, they've got the Dan Callis thing that you can layer on top of that, of other things that are going on against the Elite. And then they all sort of get together and realize that the start of this downfall was CM Punk, and then wage war on Collision, in a way.
Whoa.
And do a sort of weird little Dynamite Collision crossover thing.
Hell yeah.
Leading to Hangman Page beating CM Punk.
Boom.
And obviously you've got the promos of CM Punk calling him a drunken idiot and the straight edge thing. You've got loads that you can play into there. You've got all the backstage history. You've got everything. Like in terms of television and booking and business, it would be great. So just do it, basically.
Let us know how you would save Hangman Page down in the comment section below. My first question for this one comes from Bamshak Fwangi IL.
Yep.
More complex than your first one. Hey guys, big fan. Thank you. If you were to pick one of these matches to main event WrestleMania Night 1, what would it be? Becky Lynch versus Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair versus Charlotte Flair, or Asuka versus Io Sky? That's their choice. Or any other match not coming to mind. Hope you have a great time at Wembley. Yeah, which of those three? We've got Becky versus Rhea, Bianca versus Charlotte, Asuka versus Io, or something completely different.
I'm torn between Becky and Rhea and Io and Asuka, mainly because I think Rhea Ripley deserves it. I think she's been on top form, and she is a top star, and she deserves to be positioned as a top star.
Yeah.
And that would 100% do it. But Asuka versus Io Sky is just such a delicious combo match. And in terms of someone who deserves it, Asuka, you can't ask for more.
200%.
Her and Bayley carried the women's division through the era that we no longer talk about, the Thunderdome bollocks. So yeah, I'd go with either of those. I would be perfectly happy for. And if we're not going to get like a Bayley versus Sasha main event at WrestleMania, I'd say either one of those are a decent compromise.
Totally agree. I think of those three choices, I'm inclined to go to the Rhea match with Becky first and foremost, just because I think Rhea comes across as like the biggest star in the universe at the moment, and I think she warrants that spotlight. Io versus Asuka would obviously be kick-ass. As one that hasn't been mentioned so far, I'm still really fascinated and hopefully looking forward to someday Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair in that spot.
Hello.
Rhea with the belt right now. Bianca's been killer at WrestleMania for several years now.
Yep.
Hell of a match.
Get Bayley up as well. Bayley versus Bianca would be a great thing to get in there. Bayley deserves a main event of WrestleMania at some point. Bloody
So
hell.
many good matches.
Yeah.
And so many insufficient funds.
Yes. The next question comes from Mark Smith, UBHQ, who says, Morning Legends, when the breakup happens, everyone is expecting Roderick Strong and the Kingdom to side with Adam Cole. But could AEW pull a huge swerve and have them align with MJF and cost Cole the feud?
I think there's a very strong chance of that happening because throughout his career, and Bennett as well, but Matt Taven's a scamp.
Yeah.
He's a rascal of a man, character-wise. And I think, personally, for me, he works a little bit better as a heel. So, to me, it makes sense for them to be devious in the end in some way. I could see a scenario playing out whereby the Kingdom, Taven and Bennett, and Maria, obviously, jump over to MJF's side, but Roderick Strong's like, no, I'm trying to be the good guy here. What are you doing? I know Roddy's been really upset on TV recently.
Kicking cars.
But I think it's actually like a really three-dimensional character move. If he goes, no, I'm standing by my mate who you guys have just screwed over. I've been trying to tell him. He wouldn't listen. I've now been proved correct. But instead of lashing out, I'm going to be like, come here, brother. And then who joins them to even up this trios match? Well, one Kyle O'Reilly on the sidelines as well. I think that's how it's going to go down.
That's fair. I think Roderick Strong is a really underrated aspect to this MJF Adam Cole stuff. Like, he's always just been there lurking in the background, but like just the sort of the fall of Roderick Strong throughout all of this into this crazy person
Heart
who
of
breaks
darkness,
his spot
isn't
by
it?
kicking cars. It's been great, and I think he's an underrated part of it all. And also the aspect of all of the teases that they've had with Adam Cole is going to be the one to turn on MJF, like doing the pat on the back, but like the stabbing him in the back thing, the like tease of hitting him with the super kick on Dynamite this week, the little bit in his promo harking back to the WrestleMania 17 main event with The Rock and Stone Cold, where obviously Stone Cold turned heel. They're putting in all of these little things where it's like, Cole's going to be the one to turn, Cole's going to be the one to turn, and that'd be a great way of doing a swerve.
Swerve-a-rooney. A good swerve as well.
A good swerve.
Like Swerve Strickland, he's a good swerve.
He is a good swerve. The best swerve, I would say.
I think certainly better than Vince Russo.
Yeah.
100%. Let's move over to Michael Everett, who's been on, saying, morning, you beautiful gentlemen. Thank you. So many compliments today.
It's lovely.
Beautiful. Considering we are hopefully getting closer to a Bray Wyatt return, how would you book it so that it's not a creative disaster? Maybe a return in the Rumble. I think it's difficult now, but still doable. Tough to book Bray Wyatt. How would you go about it?
It is very tough to book Bray Wyatt, and any kind of fantasy booking that you could do for Bray Wyatt, you'd probably come up with something completely different that you would never ever think of, because he's quite the creative guy in that way.
Lots of ideas.
In terms of bringing him back at the Royal Rumble, I think there's only one way that you could possibly do it, and it's have The Fiend open the Rumble in #1 spot, but he gets chucked out. But then he diverts to like cult leader Bray Wyatt. He comes out in the Rumble, but he gets chucked out. Then he goes back to Husky Harris, and he goes all the way back through his characters, all the way back to NXT. They all get chucked out until number 30. He comes out as a brand new character. He wins the Rumble. He goes on to main event WrestleMania as whatever this new character is. Who the hell knows? And he wins the title. Why not?
He beats Uncle Howdy in the main event.
Yeah.
The ultimate feud.
The ultimate showdown.
I wonder, right?
He would take up like 8 spots in that Rumble.
The 24 faces of Wyndham. I wonder if it's worth, and he probably wouldn't be down for this because he's like, he's got ideas above wrestling. Like, he does lots of horror movie inspired stuff. He likes doing the crazy outlandish ideas. So I don't know if he would go for this, and I think his fans will probably shout at me for this, but we know the man was hospitalized with a life-threatening illness. Why don't we just push the guy as a babyface, making an inspirational comeback for a bit? And then maybe the darkness can corrupt him later on. Maybe there's money in just, hey, look, I've been through some SHIT. That's a babyface story. Maybe there's money in that, or maybe I just want to see the Fiend again. I'm stuck. But look, Bray Wyatt inspires a lot of passionate Opinions, mostly positive. People love Bray Wyatt. Like, you don't like him, you love him.
Yeah.
Let us know how you'd bring him back down below. 2 calls to the comment section.
Hello.
Pros.
Nailing it. Next question comes from TAKB5B1, or L maybe, I don't know. What would you consider the greatest non-WWE company of all time? I'm assuming he's talking about wrestling companies, not just like Lego.
Yeah, Coca-Cola, McDonald's.
He says, I suppose throw in NXT if you want, but I wouldn't count it.
Ooh, okay. All right. I've got a good answer, I think, from a pure entertainment standpoint.
5-star wrestling. Right?
Bring it back!
Bring it back, baby!
Rob Van Dam and Rey Mysterio wrestling in an arena that has 20 people in it. Completely insane. How did they accomplish that?
I mean, they almost signed CM Punk, so they can probably get him like anything.
They were very close. So it's actually similar idea, right? For me, the most entertaining stuff in wrestling is 9 out of 10 and above and 2 out of 10 and below.
Yep.
There is one company in wrestling history that has given you more of that than any other, and it's not WWE. The run wasn't as long as WWE's, but my God, was it full of highs and lows. WCW is the perfect wrestling promotion. The absolute perfect wrestling promotion, because the worst stuff is some of the funniest things ever. Judy Bagwell, that's the wall, brother. Finger poke of doom. Vince Russo becoming champ. David Arquette. The Dungeon of Doom, the Yeti, Hulk Hogan pushing the giant off a roof, like perfect crap wrestling. But the good stuff is right up there as well. The formation of the NWO, Ric Flair in like the late 80s and stuff like that, the feud with Terry Funk, the rise of Goldberg, the cruiserweight division, the great War Games matches of the early 90s. Like, it's got the best, it's got the worst. Perfect entertainment.
Fair.
Best of all time.
I mean, my answer is obviously WCPW, because of course
obviously.
It is. We were obviously the best. Better than all the rest. No, seriously, it's probably not. I will go for PWG.
Ooh!
But just because they knew exactly what they wanted to do in wrestling, they stuck to it forever. They've never changed. They've never really grown outside of what they know it can be and just keep it as this. It's like the hottest ticket you can possibly get in wrestling, and it's a who's who of wrestling these days that have been through those doors. Maybe even more so than Ring of Honor, because they had sort of dips and troughs of amazing stars at the beginning, and it like tapered off a bit. But PWG has been steady throughout of just having the best of the indie scene. It's basically proving ground of the indies. If you can make it in PWG, you're gonna be fine to go anywhere else.
100%. And it's like, you know, they've been like consistently, like the style's never really changed in PWG. It's always been reflective of the zeitgeist, and it's like popping matches that kind of come out of nowhere with minimal storytelling. It's been really, really consistent. Ring of Honor, of course, those peak years unparalleled, just incredible pro wrestling. But then what happened? They hired Jim Cornette as a booker, and suddenly it sucked. Coincidence, I'm sure. Let's move on to our next question today. It comes from William Sanders, who asks, hello guys, who takes the World Heavyweight Championship off of Seth Rollins, and when do you think it will happen? Is it soon, or will his reign stretch to WrestleMania next year? I think there's some good candidates. Who you got?
I think there is some good candidates, and I would personally stretch it to WrestleMania next year. I think you've like just debuted this belt. You need a good long title reign to establish it properly. And I would go for Gunther as the guy. I know they're technically on different brands, but we can sort that out later. Like Gunther loses the IC title sometime, maybe Gunther wins the Royal Rumble, there you go, and that's how you get him back over to Raw, and he goes after Seth Rollins. I think Gunther versus Seth would be an incredible match for WrestleMania.
Unbelievable.
It would be so good. It would be, and Gunther just crowning as the champion and going on another massively long title reign with that belt at Mania. That's the way I'd go.
That's the way I'd go, and that's one of the ways I think they will go. Actually, until this week's episode of Raw, I was actually quite convinced that they were going to give it to Cody and revive that feud. And I was a bit, I've said that on a few videos, and I was a bit like, oh gosh, how do we get to then Cody finishing the story? I don't think, after watching Raw, I think they were just trying to slip you around a little bit, which is good, because I don't necessarily want to see that. No. So, Gunther would be my number one pick. My secondary pick is LA Knight, because he is so over. Yeah. And so much fun.
Ludicrous.
Can you imagine?
The promo battles between them would be stupid.
Wow, just the stupidity of Seth Rollins with his yellow boots and his and LA Knight just dropping catchphrases and insults every 2 seconds. It would be amazing. Yeah, I think we got some good choices there. That's solid.
So. Let us know who you would pick down in the comments below.
Free, baby. Let's go. All right.
Who's next?
I think
me
it's
next.
you. I
Hello.
think so.
All right, where am I? Okay, the next one comes from Christopher Schindler 8624. Who says, good day, gentlemanly legends. Rumour has it that Roman Reigns may have a degree of say into when and who he drops the title to. Do you think any wrestler should have a say in how their title run goes, or should it strictly be a management decision?
Ooh, well, it's
fine line.
A very fine line, because obviously you want people to feel creatively empowered in their job, and you want to wrestlers, when they have good ideas, you should do them. Because if it's a good idea, it doesn't make sense not to. So you want that sense of creative empowerment and the idea that you're all pulling together as a team. Ultimately, someone has to have the final say in these things, but it's good to involve people in the process. We've seen historically, with the promotion I've just mentioned, WCW in particular, and hey, look, Triple H, Reign of Terror, that when people have too much sway at the top, yeah, it's going to be bad for business and it's going to create like a bottleneck for opportunities. So I do worry a little bit that Cody finishing the story is seemingly dependent on Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman. That being said, I don't really have much evidence to point towards where I can credibly say Roman Reigns is going to do a Hulk Hogan or a Kevin Nash or whatever. Or Shawn Michaels is a better example than Kevin Nash. There's just not that much evidence that he's that kind of guy. I actually have faith that Roman will go, okay, this is the right spot to do it, this is when we're going to do it. I will put this guy over, whoever it may be. I think it's Cody. But yeah, there is definitely a risk, because if they've put all this power in Roman and Paul, and Roman's like, I'm not losing, you've got a Shawn Michaels situation on your hands. So it's a tough balance.
It is, and yeah, a very fine line. I think they should, like, if you've got a top star that is that invested in their own character and the product and like the path of that character, I think they should have input in it, because they are the ones that are living it every day. They are the ones that are constantly coming up with ideas for their own character, and if they're coming up with their own ideas to build into their character to inform it, then they're going to be far more invested in it and therefore do a much better job portraying it, as far as I'm concerned. So I think there should be some say in there somewhere, but it's definitely a give and take thing. If management 100%. Comes at you and say, you have to lose this thing, you should have to lose this thing. And it goes back to like The Undertaker had so much sway in terms of his character. He thought that Brock shouldn't have been the one to take the streak. But Vince came and said, like, yes, this is the right thing to do. He did it, obviously, and like, look where it took Brock in the end. Like, there should be a give and take where, yes, you have a say in it, but if someone comes and says this is happening, you have to do that.
100%.
That's your boss. This is your job at the end of the day.
That's how companies work.
Exactly.
Let's move over to our next question here. It comes from Nerdachuster. Big question this, so we can just treat it as like dream matches. How would you book an AEW versus WWE card? Oh my goodness gracious me.
My word.
I'm gonna start.
Okay.
Rhea Ripley, Jamie Hayter.
Hello.
Kicking the crap out of each other.
Fair.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
All for it. I'm gonna take the big slot and just go straight up Kenny Omega versus Roman Reigns, because it's fascinating as how that would play out.
So weird. so weird. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing. Young Bucks Usos. Boom.
Hello.
Straight up.
House of Black versus the Judgment Day.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Whoever loses has to ditch their lighting effects.
Yeah. Not allowed to be meddling.
Yeah, you have to choose a new genre of music. House of Black's country phase is gonna be really weird. I'm here for it, but I've just collapsed that box. Let's have a think. I mean, there's so many great options.
Yeah.
Gunther versus Eddie Kingston. Boom. The Ultimate Ring General versus a great underdog.
100%.
Sensational.
Young Bucks versus the Usos or the New Day. Either or. Yeah. Take your pick. Why not?
So many choices for this. Alpha Academy versus FTR would be incredible.
Yeah.
That'd be outrageous.
Yeah, that's true. Who else have we got? Who are we missing? AEW guys. Have we booked MJF yet?
We haven't booked MJF yet. I mean, I'd love a promo battle with him and LA Knight.
Yeah, that would be really good. I was thinking, who's like...
But there's like...
Sami Zayn.
Oh gosh, that would be...
MJF Sami Zayn would be incredible.
John Moxley, Kevin Owens. I know, like, it's like an old...
Yeah,
but like, they're new versions.
Old becomes new.
That would just be a dirty ass brawl.
Yeah.
I would really love to see like Io Sky versus Chris Statlander. I think Io, they complement each other so well. Like Io is so... she's a great all-round wrestler, and Statlander's the powerhouse. It'd be sick.
The Acclaimed versus Hit Row.
Yes.
Obviously. Rap battle.
Obvious, yeah. Drop the tracks. Remember in Top Dollar dropped the Young Bucks diss track. That was fun.
That was good.
Shouts to Top Dollar on the weight loss. I say this all the time. Big man's doing good work.
Indeed.
I want your tips, my friend.
Britt Baker versus Bailey.
Oh, the
Heel
promos
Bailey.
again.
Heel Bailey against the face Britt Baker would be really good.
Even the
heel versus heel. I don't know. What's the best versions of them?
What you could do is to have them team up in a weird
That would be very funny.
turn of
really odd
something
little team.
against pick two baby faces, really. Athena versus Roxanne Perez.
Hello.
Perfect baby face, perfect heel. Man, if they did this show, it would be the greatest show of all time. Bryan Danielson versus...
It's a bit of a cheat, that one. You need someone who's been there.
Oh, yeah,
Gunther.
Yeah, there you go. There's another one.
There you go.
There's another one.
Oh man, Bryan Danielson's chest at the end of that. Jesus.
Oh, brother. Darby Allin versus Roman Reigns would be amazing. Oh my God, what would that look like?
Yeah, that'd be ludicrous.
Santana and Ortiz. I'm just picking stuff out of the sky now. It's really easy.
But it is very easy.
Yeah.
It all
Great
falls
show.
into place. Let us know down in the comments the ones that we've missed
Hey.
and that you would pick. Is it me now?
Last one for you, and then the last one for me.
Last question from me comes from Robert Smith, who says, how long until you think WWE will try to outdo All In's 80,000 tickets?
Familiar sounding question.
Familiar. Oopsie.
I think they'll do it straight as soon as they can, right? I imagine that booking Wembley is probably quite difficult. So if they were to do it on UK soil, they'd have to adhere to various schedules and regulations and yada 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 yada. It's not a coincidence that John Cena just stood in the middle of the ring in London and went, "Hey, what about WrestleMania in London?"
Yeah.
I think they will try and go down that route, but I would be reticent to put a specific time frame on, but I think as soon as they have an opportunity to call one of their shows the biggest of all time, and it's like a legitimate attendance, not that that'll stop wrestling companies, they will do it as soon as they can.
Yeah, 100%. There is no way Vince McMahon or Triple H or pretty much anyone, like Nick Khan, name your top level WWE executive.
Name a guy.
that they won't want AEW to be able to hold this record.
Yeah.
So yeah, as soon as possible. I don't think, they're set for WrestleMania 39, but WrestleMania 40 is an anniversary WrestleMania. Wow. They can have a massive excuse to go big. So I think they'll be aiming for WrestleMania 40 to be the biggest wrestling show of all time.
The biggest you've ever seen. Yeah. Completely agree. Big agree. 3 times. Final one of the video comes from GCR Zach 29. Here's a big one. With all the drama already, is CM Punk really worth all this hype? Whoa, we saved him till last.
Oh baby, yes, because chaos reigns supreme. And I love it. I feast off the stupid chaos of AEW. It's a fine line. Again, we're talking about more fine lines. It gets people talking about the product. It just does. Like the internet didn't shut up about everything to do with CM Punk from his debut initially in AEW and the teasers that went into that all the way through to his championship reign is the brawl out, like the good, the bad, and the ugly of CM Punk. The internet doesn't shut up about it. Yeah. And he does put butts in seats at the end of the day.
Yeah.
However, you've got to weigh the chaos element up with a happy backstage environment.
This is it. I have 2 answers.
Okay.
My first one is a yes, and it's for the reasons you've just...
First one is a yes with a but, the other one is a no with a maybe.
Yeah, exactly. So... I love the chaos too. I love following it. Look, we don't work there, so we don't have to deal with the repercussions.
Not our problem.
So we're like, hey, cool, what's he done? Why has he got a promo on Hangman Page after the show? Why is Ace Steel there? I don't know.
What's he put on Instagram?
Yeah, what's Tony Khan done about it? Nothing. Okay. I will say, however, from an organizational standpoint, probably not, because I think, and this is a take from the flagship wrestling podcast, Joe Lanza, and I agree with it, I think that Tony Khan thinks he's going to be in a courtroom with this man someday. And I think that day is probably coming quite soon. I think that this is heading for a blow-up unless Mr. Anthony Khan exerts some stronger managerial control. I think that it's inevitable. I don't see certain forces ever playing ball with him. And listen, if I was in their shoes, I can't say I would necessarily either. It's very easy to sit online and go, just make some money! But it's very difficult when you've been punched in the face by a guy, right? Whoever's fault it was, I'm not entering that debate.
And it's not, it's at the same time, it's not just working with a guy, it's something that takes the amount of trust in the other person that wrestling does.
Yes, exactly. You
Adds
need to...
another element to it entirely.
Exactly. You need to know that someone's not just going to stiff you in the face in the middle of a match.
Yeah.
So, look, I'm not going to sit on the fence for it. I'm just going to give you one answer, although I like to consider everything. Yes, because chaos is fun.
There you go.
There you are. You know what else is fun? Clicking on this video right here.
Heyo.
Thank you so much for joining us for this. Happy Sunday, everyone. See you later.